One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Yes, everybody, the signs have gone up down here at Alligator Alcatraz. I don't know who that guy was, but I saw that this afternoon, and I watched this guy set up his amp and take his guitar out to the Grand Canyon. And I couldn't even imagine the acoustics of doing that in front of the entirety of the Grand Canyon and just blow it out. And that's like, I'm playing that tonight. I don't know if I'm gonna get in trouble, but I got to play that because damn. That's what I wanted to feel tonight. And I'm scrolling through Twitter. I'm like, that's it. All right, welcome to the evening show. It's going to be a lot more laid back, not a whole lot of newsy stuff for you because I've promised this interview twice now and it got bumped. So I'm just gonna, I know we're on a tight schedule. Things are supposed to happen pretty soon. So I'm gonna jump right into this interview with General Michael Flynn. But before I get into the interview, I want to kind of lead in to some of the stuff he's going to talk about. Listen to this.
Elections. The FBI specifically worked to protect Director Wray from political blowback. But it gets worse. Headquarters then imposed a policy forcing all election-related intel to be filtered through D.C. The email surfaced just this week under a Judiciary Committee records release. Grassley and other Republicans say the documents prove a coordinated effort to keep the truth about Chinese interference from both Congress and the American people. We bring on now Congressman Jim Jordan, who knows a thing or two about this particular chapter in our history. Congressman, I know that you had so many battles with the FBI, the Biden FBI, to just get basic answers. And they fought and fought and fought at every turn. But this is a much more nefarious story.
Well, I think there's two takeaways for me. First is, China was up to this. It looks like they were up to some really bad stuff. I don't think that should surprise us. And frankly, we probably shouldn't be surprised that the FBI, who said, okay, we're going to investigate moms and dads going to school board meetings, so the FBI that put together a memorandum that said if you're a pro-life Catholic, somehow you're an extremist, the FBI that couldn't tell us who planted the pipe bombs, the FBI who couldn't tell us that, who put cocaine at the White House, that now this is the same FBI who's suppressing this information according to what Senator Grassley has uncovered. So, yeah, this shouldn't surprise us. I think the real takeaway, though, is God bless the fact that the American people put President Trump back in the White House, and we now have Kash Patel running the FBI, not Christopher Wray.
And the effectiveness, I think, firsthand, back when Patel was in Congress helping Devin Nunes uncover and unravel Russiagate, it was stunning how quickly and easily, at least from the outside, it seemed that you were able to unravel these stories. In this case, it's baffling that they're just erasing the evidence. And I think that really affirms what so many Americans suspect, that the reason we're not getting answers out of the Biden FBI is that a lot of the stuff was just disappeared, deleted, done away with.
Well, if they're really destroying documents, that is a real problem. And we'll see what Senator Grassley, we got a bunch of investigations we're doing. He's doing investigations. We'll see what Senator Grassley uncovers. And if, will there be a referral or anything like that? I don't know. But if you're destroying things, that is a real problem, and it's not supposed to happen. So again, God bless the good senator for the work he's doing, and we'll see what he uncovers, and we'll see if the FBI director has information that he thinks should be going to the attorney general and for possible prosecution. We'll just have to wait and see.
I know you talked to a lot of knowledgeable agents, and you talked to Kash, you talked to some very important people about this, and I know this is a real concern. I mean, are there actually ways and reforms that can be put in place to prevent deletion of important documents by FBI who's been politicized? Is there a meaningful way to tackle this?
Well, it all starts with leadership. Leadership matters. You got to have the right people running these agencies, and you got to have the right people, the right person in the Oval Office as commander-in-chief and as head of the executive branch. And we have the right guy there now in President Trump. I think we have the right person at at the Justice Department in Pam Bondi. I think we have the right person at the FBI in Kash Patel. As you pointed out, and remember, it was Kash Patel who was then working for Chairman Devin Nunes, who uncovered the other big plot that happened 10 years ago, where the Clinton campaign hired the law firm Perkins Coie, who went and hired Fusion GPS, the public relations firm, who then hired the foreigner Christopher Steele, who put together the fake, false document, the dossier that Jim Comey took to the secret court to get a warrant to go spy on President Trump's campaign. That all happened, and but for Kash and Devin uncovering that, and then we all digging into it and getting the truth to the American people, they'd have got away with that. So, this is how it works with oversight. It's our constitutional duty in the legislative branch to do oversight of the executive branch. We're doing it in our committee. Senator Grassley's doing it over there, and let's hope he gets to the truth, which I think he will.
Now, all of that had specifically to do with General Flynn. And so, without further ado, let me play this interview I had with General Flynn. I believe it's yesterday. Hey, everybody. I am so proud to have General Michael Flynn back on the show again, especially on today. Today's date with the big, beautiful bill looking like it's going to pass. General Flynn, thank you for taking the time to come over. If I seem a little rusty, it's because we've been up all night watching this fiasco happen in Congress. Have you been following?
No, Barry. As soon as I saw Hakeem Jeffries take the mic, I went to sleep because I think he's still talking. I mean, that was like 4 hours ago. So, I was sitting there, I'm doing some, looking and reading stuff. I'm listening to what's going on. I'm watching, Truth Social, X, all the social media platforms. And then I saw Hakeem, get introduced, and he gets up, and that was the end of it for me. I just said, forget it. I drove into work this morning. At about, about 8:15 and into my office. And he's still talking.
J.D. Vance posted something. A congressman texted him and said, I was a no vote until I heard Hakeem Jeffries lie, and now I'm a yes. Because this guy, he's just lying, standing up there just saying all kinds of crap. And the only person at this point who didn't say yes is the congressman from Pennsylvania who wants money to go to Ukraine. So he's done.
And for the American people, for your audience, most Americans don't understand the process of how this budget stuff works. The president submits it, the House gets it, the House wrangles with it, they work it, and then they vote on it, but not to pass it. They vote on it that it's ready to move to the Senate. Okay. So they basically say, okay, it's ready to move to the Senate. The Senate then makes a whole bunch of changes to it. The Senate then takes it. They vote that, yep, it's ready to go back to the House. That means every little bell and whistle that every single, member of the House and the member of the Senate wanted to get in the initial bill, once it gets out of the Senate, it goes back to the House. And then the House then puts a whole bunch of other bells and whistles on it. And honestly, Barry, once it passes, because it'll eventually pass, it'll go to the White House, the president will sign it. Whatever goes to the White House, very, very few people will have read through the whole thing. And people won't actually read through the whole thing until after the president signs it, which is one of the craziest ways to create a budget that is a multi-trillion-dollar budget that the United States is, the taxpayers are going to have to pay for. Good, bad, or indifferent, in order for us to do it, and what we need right now is if we want to continue with the federal government actually being open, it needs to pass, and a couple of things in it, of course, that Trump has highlighted is a stronger military, probably the biggest tax cut in U.S. history, which is a big deal. Right. And it also allows us to basically continue to prosecute the kinds of things that we need to prosecute here. The defense of the homeland, which is a big deal. The border security. There's more in it than just border security issues, than just building a wall and such. It's also funding of our CBP and our ICE and the kinds of things that need to be done. That's where you're going to have members of the House, Barry. And this is really important because this has to do with the war in the Middle East. It has to do with the war in Eastern Europe. It has to do with the continuation of our sort of what Trump likes to say is peace through strength initiatives facing China and the tariffs that China is going to continue to have to deal with Trump's economic deals. I mean, so all of these things matter in this particular bill. The principal things are, it's defense of the homeland, I call it, right? Border protection, but it's more than that. It's strengthening our military, and it's the largest tax cut in the history of the country.
Right.
If those three things matter to the American public, and I believe that they do, then it's a big victory for this administration, and it's essentially what people voted for, sort of at the top of the line. But I will tell you, because a lot of people over the last few days, Barry, have been asking Trump in many of his interviews as he goes around the country. He was down in Alcatraz Alley the other day there, right? I call it Alcatraz Alley now because it was Alligator Alley, right? Right. But when he goes into these various interviews, people are asking him more and more, when is somebody going to be held accountable?
Yes.
Okay? Barry, the American people, and frankly, the republic of this country cannot move forward unless we have one accountability of those people that clearly violated the rule of law, going back to the first Trump administration.
Right.
And all these people go, well, there's statute of limitations. Bullshit. I just used my Irish. I mean, these people committed, they conspired. They conspired to overthrow a sitting president of the United States, and and yours truly right here was target number one. And that's why I know later maybe we'll talk about the bestseller that I got out there today, Pardon of Innocence, but where I detail a lot of this stuff.
Absolutely.
But that's really the other part. That's the intangible part of this budget. Because the American people are, I know in social media world, they're out there pounding, talking about, we've got to get this budget passed, demanding that Congress pass it. Okay. But then once that's done, the American people are going to come on really strong, and they're going to be looking for Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, who are, friends of mine, and Dan Bongino okay, what are we doing to hold people accountable? Because it's not just Russiagate. It's, election gate, if you will. It's J6 gate. It's impeachment gates. It's everything. It's the Marxist revolution that we are experiencing. And people can go back to, there's a guy, one of the founders called John Jay, in Federalist Papers number 2 and 3, I think. Fascinating stuff where that far back at the beginning of this country, that particular gentleman in those Federalist Papers, he warned the America that existed at the time that we had better be worried about the subversion inside of our own government because of the way that our rights could be manipulated by an adversary, right? And now here we are nearly 250 years later. And Barry, this has been going on for the last half century. This has been going on for the last 50 years, clearly since the Obama regime, that there's been a subversion of our constitutional principles, mainly the rule of law. And where it's like, if you're at this level, if you're at the top level of government, if you're one of the elites, let's say we define it like that, then nothing happens to you. But if you're not at that top level, if you're down, you're not part of this uniparty establishment that has been debating this bill for, really a couple of months now. And even Trump, he's demanding last night, pass the bill, pass the damn thing, right? Let's get on with it, Republicans, right? I mean, he won a mandate. He also helped the House of Representatives win. He helped the U.S. Senate win. So we had a full mandate. He's got 3 appointees that he appointed in the last administration in the U.S. Supreme Court. We can say what we want about the 3 of them, but essentially we have a conservative body that is now running the United States of America, and it feels like we're fighting ourselves. Never mind, the tools of the left that are really members of this socialist movement that is consuming. It has consumed the Democrat Party. Okay, I'm a former Democrat. It has consumed the Democrat Party, and it is now a socialist movement, and it's actually, I'm a little bit more harsh defining it. It is a Marxist revolution that we are facing. That's what the American people sense, and that's what the American people want to stop. So if giving this budget and the budget authorities that come with it to the executive branch of the government, with Donald Trump at the helm, if giving that to Donald Trump to be able to execute the things that he needs to execute, the policies, etc., then what we want is accountability. And we are going to have accountability. I mean, just look at what we just learned yesterday with the release of some CIA document.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So before you get into it, can you preface it? Because as I've been reading some of this stuff, I'm like, and I actually sat back and went, Michael Flynn has been not just found correct, you've been found vindicated. Everything you guys have said for going on, 7 or 8 years at this point.
Going on eight, almost into 9 years now. I mean, I stood with Trump. The first time I met him was in 2015. So here's summer of 2015, right after he came down the escalator. And then that's the first time he and I had a conversation, a detailed one about the world. And here it is, 2025, and we're in the summer of 2025. So this has been a decade. So now,
tell everybody what Chuck Grassley dropped. There's a bunch of them. There's one from the CIA. There's one from the FBI, and I mean, and nobody's reporting on it. So more than anybody in regards what happened. Let's start with the Chuck Grassley one about China. What exactly is that?
I mean, they're very, very clear, and we've known this since November of 2020. Definitely December of 2020. So after the election of 2020, the false, fake, rigged election. Now what Senator Grassley, who's actually been a pit bull on this, and I applaud Senator Grassley for the things that he's done, because he's done it very well, and he's been pointed, and he's now he's releasing a lot of these documents. Essentially, what that particular document says is that there was clear interference by a foreign entity, in this case China, in our elections of 2020. Clear evidence, no doubt, 100%. And I can tell you that because some of the things that we are doing in working with the government, so I know that there is great interest, particularly by Tulsi Gabbard and her team, to really examine not only what happened, and they know what happened, but okay, so how much deeper is this? How many other countries are involved? Is it just China as the quarterback, which is kind of the way I read the Grassley document. China was kind of the quarterback, but then you have Iranian influence, you have Venezuelan influence, you have Cuba. So there's a lot of other adversarial entities that are foreign that are playing, mucking around in our election process. That's number one. The second critical document that was released by, I think, John Radcliffe out of the CIA, but it was really forced to be released because of FOIA requests. And in it basically says that from the very beginning, and now I'll go back to 2016.
Right. From
the very beginning, Barack Obama knew, and the U.S. intelligence community knew, specifically John Brennan knew, who was the CIA director at the time. They knew that the Russiagate, that the document that was created, that was the falsely accusing Donald Trump as being a Russian spy, and definitely accusing me of being a Russian spy. They knew back in the summer of 2016, Barack Obama was briefed on it, summer of 2016, okay, that it was created by Hillary Clinton to smear Donald Trump. It was basically a sort of a way to create an October surprise against Donald Trump so Hillary Clinton could win the election in 2016. And frankly, the American people didn't buy it then because Hillary Clinton was just such an unlikable person. But so thank God that Trump won. Thank God he won. But that document that was released yesterday, talk about a vindication. I mean, again, I've known this from the beginning, but it's like another vindication. There is a statement in the actual CIA document, almost verbatim, and in my book, Pardon of Innocence, I actually talk about, because we knew this, we fought tooth and nail to get evidence for my case. So there's a statement in my book that is almost verbatim out of that CIA, formally classified secret no foreign document. Meaning, secret no foreign means it's classified secret, no foreign means that it's not supposed to be disseminated to foreign offices, right? Like our Five Eyes partners and others. So this release of Grassley's documents, the release of the CIA documents, this is really damaging. And what it proves is that we not only have foreign interference in our election systems, Barry. This is a big deal, Barry. This is a big
huge.
And this is like, breaking news, audience. So it's not only proves that there's foreign interference by our main adversaries in our election system, but there is internal adversarial subversion in our own government, principally the United States intelligence community, specifically the Central Intelligence Agency. More specific is people like John Brennan, Jim Clapper, Jim Comey, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton. These are the people that were behind it. So they enabled all of this stuff. And here we are, thank God, because I do believe that God intervened for Donald J. Trump in the summer of 2024 when that sniper's bullet flicked his ear, but basically shot him in the head, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And missed assassinating him. Thank God, knock on wood. Had he not won, we'd be in deep, deep trouble. All of the kinds of things that we cherish in this country, the rights that we have, the freedoms that we cherish, the pursuit of happiness, the life and the liberty that we are, that was declared for us to have, they would be gone. They would be gone. And back to the beginning, to what's happening in Congress right now, Barry. And I listened to a little bit of Hakeem Jeffries. I did. I was fibbing a little bit there about
really
now.
hard.
Well, I did, but I was listening to him at the beginning, and I'm like saying, I know exactly what he's going to say, and the kinds of things that he was saying is, how there's this assault on democracy.
Yeah.
Hey, we're a constitutional republic. The communist left in this country, and he's one of the biggest ones. Hakeem Jeffries, the leader of the opposition party in Congress right now. He's one of the biggest Marxists in Congress right now. So the things that he was saying, this assault on democracy, is how they project what they are doing to our side, right? They'll tell the American people, see those on the right, this extremist group on the right. I'm like, if you gave me a quiz of 10 questions, where would I fall out politically? I'd probably fall out a little left of center, And again, it goes to my upbringing. It goes to my service in the military, where I served with some of the greatest men and women in the military. We didn't care about what color you were. We cared about how good you were. We cared about whether or not you could meet the standard to stand, shoulder to shoulder, toe to toe against the adversaries and the enemies that we had to face. And in my military career, and so we are in a war. We are in a war right now, Barry, inside of this country. And I know that Donald J. Trump understands it better than anybody else, maybe other than me, but we're at war. And that war is going to require the American people, your audience, and every other audience that listens to this, to stand up shoulder to shoulder now and face the sacrifices that we are going to have to maintain, and we're going to have to give here back to our country, because we're 6 months into this administration. Trump has done an extraordinary amount in a 6-month period of time. We have 3.5 years to go. We have another election to go. We have the best bellwether of how America can be is the city of New York, right? The city that never sleeps, New York City. And we've got a guy named Mamdani who's a radical, Marxist, Islamist, and he won the primary against Cuomo, right? And now he's going to go. So this example is an example, audience, of where America is going. He is not the only radical mayor of a major city in this country right now. He's not. No. But what we haven't done is we haven't paid any attention to places like Portland, Oregon, or up in Detroit, or up in some other places in Michigan, right? There's other, or Michigan, or Wisconsin, or Minnesota, or Washington, or California. There's other cities that have been taken over by radical Marxist mayors, and now we're talking about, now everybody's paying attention because it's New York City, right? And New York City is kind of like, it's the international city that is representative of the cultural infusion of what makes America great, right? Mm-hmm. What makes America great is our, and we've been called mongrels. We've been called a mongrel society by our communist enemies of the past, right? During the Soviet Union days of the Soviet Union, they used to call us mongrels, and they figured they could beat these mongrels. Hey, I used to own a mongrel dog a long time ago. He would kick the crap out of any dog on the street. He weighed 125 pounds, and I used to love taking him around the neighborhood to beat other people's dogs, So I'm just telling you, that is a wake-up call. Now, he won that election, that primary election. You know why, Barry? Because only 9% of the people showed up to vote.
Complete apathy.
Americans, we got to stop this, Barry. We've got to say, that's why I use this phrase, local action has a national impact. Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? That means that people have to take responsibility for the duties and frankly the responsibilities that we have as American citizens. One of the principal responsibilities that we have is our right, our privilege to vote in this country. And when somebody turns off and says, don't do that political thing, this is what we get. We get a country that is turning into a Marxist country because people just have been apathetic. Even in the presidential election of 2024, the overall turnout in the presidential election, now more of this percentage went to Trump, thank God. But in this presidential election of 2024, we had more than 30% of people that could vote, that were registered to vote in our country, not vote. They did not vote. So more than 30%. And I think it was the total numbers were like 67 or 68% turnout in a presidential election that mattered so much for the future of our country. And I say, thank God, because I do think that God, and I'll bring my religiosity into this, even though I try not to wear it on my sleeve, but it's real because our country,
nothing wrong with that.
Our country was founded on these principles, these Christian principles and values in there. We should be fearless about them. But without I think the ordination of God Almighty on a couple of things. One is, look, folks, I'm going to give you one more chance, and that one more chance I'm going to use as my conduit a guy named Donald J. Trump. I honestly believe that because there's a couple of assassination attempts, and then there's others that are not so public. And you still have the mullahs over in Iran giving fatwas, right? Yeah. And even though Trump is like, hey, I'm not going to try to regime change you, but give me, if you don't pay attention to, and you look at having peace. But these people are issuing fatwas, which are very, very serious. These are very serious. So God is, I believe, this is Mike Flynn speaking, through the ordaining of Donald J. Trump a second time, which is very historic, which he didn't go 2 times in a row. He had a break, right? We had a break with Uncle Joe, on a fake rigged election, and we're finding out more about that. So the American people, my plea to your audience and to the American people is wake up and understand that if we don't get involved, and I'm not talking about continuing to vote for these thugs, many of them in Congress, these uniparty people. We have to find new people. We have to find fresh ideas, people who believe in our Constitution, people who believe in our rule of law, people who believe that America first is a very positive direction for this country to continue to move toward. And Trump uses America first. Trump's real bumper sticker is make America great again. But America first, as a phrase, it emanated out of what we call the Great War or World War I. It actually emanated out of at the turn of the last century, post World War I. America first, because America all of a sudden found itself after helping to achieve a victory against the Huns in World War I, boom, right? And so America then took on this life of its own in manufacturing in the industrial age of industrialization. And then a guy by the name of Hitler tried to take on, this, and then, so on and so forth. But post World War II, we began to fall into this trap that we're so great and everything's wonderful and capitalism is going to, win the day. And I'm a big believer in capitalism and innovation, but we became apathetic, and we became really apathetic after the collapse of the Soviet Union and the end of the Cold War, and that was after another great president. But Reagan wasn't the president that was going to save this country. Not at that moment. He did some great things. Republican, remember? Mm-hmm. He did some great things, and he ended the Cold War. But now we are whatever it is, almost 50 years later, right?
Right.
We are in another era where, like Reagan said, it'd only take one generation to lose everything, right? I mean, those are my words, but he basically said that. And here we are, a generation away, and we could possibly, live the words that Reagan said about losing all of our freedoms, right? It only takes one generation. So enter Donald J. Trump. That's where we are. And it's not going to end with just the next 3.5 years of Donald J. Trump.
Oh, no.
We are going to have warriors standing up in this country, because we are at war internally as well as we are with the adversaries externally. Some of the names already mentioned: China, Russia, Cuba, Venezuela, Iran, North Korea. We haven't even talked about North Korea. So anyway, I'll stop.
I know you got to stop, because I see we're almost at the edge of time here, and everything you're saying is absolutely true. I've been telling everybody, you got to vote all the way down to dog catcher in your local area, because they figured out how to see things. And I don't want you to leave here without telling us about the book, because everybody saw that the information that President Trump put out there, and he talked about the pardon and pardon of innocence. Tell us about the book before you got to check out of here.
Yeah, so Pardon of Innocence, you can go to get it on Amazon, Pardon of Innocence, or you go to my website, generalflynn.com, to get a copy. It is a phenomenal book. It's really it's a testimony to faith, family, and our ideas about.
He kissed her.
dead, so we can sleep in peace at night when we lay down our heads. My daddy served in the army, when he lost his right eye, but he blew a flag out in our yard. Till the day that he died, he wanted my mother, my brother, my sister, and me to grow up and live happy in the land of the free. Now this nation that I love is falling under attack. A mighty sucker punch came flying in from somewhere in the back, so that we could see clearly through our big black eye. Man, we lit up your world like the 4th of July. Sam put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking her fist, and the eagle will fly, and it's gonna be here when you hear Mother Freedom start ringing a bell, and it'll feel like the whole wide world is raining down on you. I'm all brought to you courtesy of the red, white, and blue.
flying free. To those who surround me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I'm defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying gravity. So that match the memory now.
was incredible. I think you'd agree. That was fantastic. Excuse me, I was playing with my different feeds that I get coming in now. I got all the good stuff happening. Working with my switchboard here. So hope you guys actually enjoyed that. Fantastic show. Fantastic show. And I love the pictures of the stuff happening over. Let me make sure I say this right. I think that was the Lincoln Memorial where everything was exploding over. So that was fantastic. And of course, they look so cute as a couple. I mean, just, whew, yeah, so much better than last year when the cocaine head was up there with, Kamala and the first dude, whatever he was. What a difference. What a complete difference, America. My voice is just about shot from what an amazing week we've had. So I had like 5 minutes left in General Flynn's interview, and it's important, so I'm going to finish that.
Freedom. In the book, it'll bring you to it'll make you cry, it'll make you laugh out loud, it'll make you angry, and at the end there is a call to action. I talk about things in that book, Barry, that nobody else has ever heard. Okay? And I get very, very intimate in some of the back and forth with Donald Trump, with the president. I get very intimate with my conversations with people like President or Vice President Pence at the time, which was part of it, and I think that that's been vindicated over time. And I talk about how the world is shaping, and then why me, and then the idea of pardon of innocence. The last thing I'd say, Barry, is the pardon of innocence is because Trump had to use the power of the presidency and the pardon power to pardon an innocent man. My case was dismissed 8 months prior. People don't even know that. Many people think I went to prison. So, so it's a fascinating. It is a bestseller, great book, Pardon of Innocence. Go to Amazon to get it, Pardon of Innocence, or you can go to generalflynn.com.
And I will pick up, let's say, I'll do 10 copies myself, and I'll give it out to people who watch this video and leave a comment below saying, yes, I'd like the video. So I'm going to make sure I do that. And General Flynn, one last question before we go. I had a movie night last week, and we showed that movie with Patrick Byrne, The Enemy Within, and you were actually in it. You're starring in it as well. And there was a scene where you guys were in the Oval Office with the woman that was playing Sidney Powell. And President Trump just looked so vulnerable. It was like 4 people, nobody else was around him. Everybody was wondering, how accurate was the depiction in that movie? How much was poetic license? Was it real what we were watching?
Yeah, it was very real. In fact, that's why I put myself into that scene, because I wanted to make sure that it was done as accurately as we could humanly do it. In the time frames that we had to be able to pull together a documentary. That is, The Enemy Within is a great documentary, true to life. And there's also a book that goes with it by Patrick Byrne. And people ought to go look at it. And they ought to take a look at that. It's a 1 hour, 3-part series, terrific film. And I'm glad that you raised it, Barry, because in that thing, it's explosive. And that's another element of the deep state, if you will, and what Hillary Clinton was doing to basically work her way into the White House. And thank God our country is blessed to not have had Hillary Clinton as president of the United States.
Yeah, exactly. Is Patrick Byrne in hiding? Is he?
No. Patrick Byrne is very much out. He's very much still involved in doing the things that he has always done, which is to stand up for this country and stand up for the rights of this country. And people need to watch that movie, and they can grab his book too. But watch that movie; it's compelling, and it's a terrific movie.
Are you heading out to Iowa or for the celebration?
I'm not going to Iowa, but I will tell you, we will be celebrating this weekend. I'm up in Washington D.C. about once a week, and we do some stuff with the government right now. We have a great team of people that has been working with elements of the government, and we are so appreciative of being able to do that. And so we're going to continue to do that, and I do stay in touch with the president periodically, just to basically tell him to watch his six. Be safe out there.
I had like 6 more questions I could ask you. Next time we'll get into some of that stuff about the executional, the operation in terms of his executive orders. We'll talk about that. I'll have Ashley bring you on again. I know you've got to run. Thank you for taking the time. Again, the book is Pardon of Innocence. Hold that beautiful book up. The big, beautiful book. Pardon of Innocence. All right. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great holiday.
Great, Barry. Thank you. God bless.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, I got it in. I finally got the whole interview in. I didn't expect this type of response. Wow. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. Just like when we gave away Bibles, which we're still shipping, I'm going to go ahead and put up a sign-up sheet, and anybody who wants a copy of his book, it'll be at my pleasure. I will get that to you. I'll put that up tomorrow, Saturday. I might be able to get it up by tomorrow. Well, that didn't sound right at all. I should be able to post the site with the link tomorrow, and then we can go from there. Also, well, I'll tell you right now. If you did I even save it? No, I'll tell you tomorrow. Got something to do with video and everything else. But in any event, that was the interview with General Flynn. I hope you enjoyed it. I felt like he relaxed. He was himself. Not like some of the interviews I see where he's painted into a corner. I just wanted him to go. Just go wherever you wanted to go, if that's what you want to talk about. And the last part, which I wanted you to see, was a lot of people asked me about the movie last week when we did Enemy from Within. And we did movie night. And SP's laughing at me. And we did the movie Enemy Within, and it got a lot of people, is this accurate? Is it a fiction kind of woven? And he just told you it was accurate. And so those of you who saw the movie with us, now you know for sure. He goes, that's why I wanted to do this scene, because I wanted everyone to know how accurate what he was seeing. Now it makes it even more compelling to go back and watch that movie. If you haven't seen it, you can see it on Rumble. One of the nights, I forget what it was, but we did a movie night and we showed the entire movie, Enemy from Within. It was amazing. I think it's not actually a movie. It is a docu-series. It's 3 episodes, and I stitched them all together and made it one movie. It lasted about almost 2.5 hours, and everybody was like, oh, wow, there's so much stuff in it. And so I invite you to go take a look at that. Now, while we were listening to President Trump and the fireworks, General Flynn posted this. Just what he was talking about in the interview. Thank you, SB. It says, attention, add Fed Reserve Chairman Powell to the list of leftist thugs trying to destroy America and join the globalist cabal. Enough is enough. Time for indictments and arrest. So, just like he said in the interview, these people have to be taken down. Let's see if now that the big beautiful bill has been signed, let's see if that is exactly what one of the next things on one of the other pages. Let's see what happens. Are we going to start seeing some people drop? I hope so. He read the wow, you guys got a lot of people want to get a copy of the book. All right, so we'll do it. Alice says she really enjoyed the interview. Yeah, Powell doesn't like America. Yeah. So I'm going to go out and spend some time with the wife. Let me do, if there's any super chats in here. That was pretty awesome. I loved it. And I loved seeing that different side of President Trump with Melania. Imagine what they've gone through. I never mind the fact that her husband almost got killed and somebody's wanted to kill him a couple times. Just all the other stuff that they've had to get. I don't know. I've asked Rob. I'm like, Rob, would you be okay with me? She's like, yeah, I'd be okay with you. I'd be pissed, but nonetheless, I'd be okay. Hold on. I'm trying to get this put together. But yeah, just kind of weird. All that stuff has happened, and wait 1 second. I'm trying to get this thing together. It's not working for me tonight, so I can read these off. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, dummy. I'm in the wrong damn window. I was wondering why it wasn't fitting correctly, and I'm like in the wrong window. That will do it. You idiot moron. You idiot moron. Okay. Now I got it correct. Boom. All right. Pontiac lover. Thank you. Philip Pet Show. Thank you. Pet Show. Pontiac lover again. Wanted to thank you for educating myself and the Fanfare family. Keep up the great work. We do appreciate you. Thank you very much. I appreciate every single one of you. Tilly, happy 4th of July to Barry, Robin, Ashley, Mods, and Fanfare family. Thank you. And happy 4th of July to you. Jean Lee, thanks. Penny Quarter, thanks for showcasing this event. I enjoyed it. It took a lot of pressure off. Didn't have to put a whole bunch of content together just for the Michael Flynn stuff, but I enjoyed it as well, and it was fun. Neo, so wonderful. Thank you for sharing the present signing of the big beautiful bill and the fireworks. Love it. What a day. What a day it was. Ivan Ortega, thank you very much. A lot of different names tonight. And Retro Bill, love you, very happy 4th to you and yours. Thank you very much. All right, everybody, that's all I have for tonight. What's this? You're not an idiot. Okay. Pam Bondi will make an excuses. I don't know. I think something's got to happen. I think something's got to break. And I think now is the time we're going to see whether that stuff indeed does break, because Big Beautiful Bill is signed. That's the biggie. Now we'll move forward. So tomorrow what I think I'm going to do is, it'll be an afternoon show, but we'll go ahead and we're going to talk about some of the stuff in the Big Beautiful Bill, and then whatever news we may come across between now. And one of the big things SV has showed me as well, probably going to be a lot of film for this tomorrow. The idiots over in California, F&A and finding out again, they're rioting, and I can't really show some of this stuff because YouTube doesn't like it. They might some people might get their fifis hurt, but to give you an idea, multiple vans full of Marines in riot gear have just arrived at the DHS building in Los Angeles. The rider is about to learn what it means. Yeah, these guys are carrying weapons, and you're not allowed to show that because people might get offended. They might get hurt. And so if you show that kind of stuff, let me see what this one is like. Yeah, this one's... Whew. I can't imagine that these people are... So I can't show it because they're holding their rifles. But anyway, you can probably turn on television or look on Twitter, X right now, that they are facing off with Marines. Marines holding guns. Police holding guns. And the problem is they know full well, you can't hurt me. You can't shoot me. Your weapons mean nothing. And so they just keep backing up. And nobody wants a Kent State type of event. Nobody wants these guys to open up on them. But you should just surround them and just lock all of them up. I mean, I wish I could show you some of this video. It's quite compelling, but here we go again. Taking over Los Angeles. This one I can probably show you. And this is the kind of crap that they're doing right now in LA. Blocking streets, causing problems with people, all kinds of different things. Animals. Absolute animals. Sick of it. What? I'm not going to let these morons ruin a great day. And so, the heck with them. We'll worry about them tomorrow. Screw them. Absolutely screw them. All right, everybody. Here's the after party. Thank you very much.